So this is a video by Soulbreezy. We've watched some of his content on stream before. This time around, he's discussing flight in 9.2 in World of Warcraft. I'm not exactly sure what's going to be needed for flight in 9.2 World of Warcraft. I've talked about my opinion when it comes to flight in MMOs in general, which I actually don't think that flight is a good thing. I know that's probably not like a very popular opinion. Most people are like, what are you talking about, dude? Flight is great. I think that it would actually be better if most MMOs would just not implement flight at all, because, you know, just design maps in a way where they can be traversed using ground mounts without being a complete bore fest or whatever. I think that is much more interesting overall. But, obviously flight is implemented in 14, flight is implemented in World of Warcraft, and you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. So, according to Soulbreezy saying new 9.2 info, unlocking flight just got really grindy. So I think it's going to be interesting to, at the very least, compare it to what Final Fantasy XIV is doing, which, if you're a WoW player and you're watching this video, like, listen, here's how it works in Final Fantasy XIV. There are these things called Aether Currents, and as we are going through a zone, we collect Aether Currents, then we do some specific side quests. Usually by the time you are done with a zone, you've unlocked flight in that zone. That's how it works. Now, usually at the start of expansion, particularly since Stormblood, I think, at the start of these expansions, you can't get all of the flight paths on the first couple of zones right away. You actually have to like go back to them later. But the idea is by the time you've done all of the critical path in that zone, and you've done like 3 or 4 side quests, which are clearly marked, you'll just be able to fly in that zone. That's it. That's the amount of grinding that you have to do. It's almost nothing. In terms of how hard it is to get flight in Final Fantasy XIV, at least in my opinion. It just slows you down a little bit, but doesn't. It's almost like, well, I don't get to fly right away when I get to a zone, but surely after, yeah, I get to fly. So let's see what Soulbreezy is going to tell us about 9.2. Is the volume good? Check. This should be.
Hey, it's Soul with what I think is a short 9.2 video. I'm going to talk about how long it takes to unlock flying in Zereth Mortis. What do you need to do? How long might you be forced to wait? And why this should upset you. Or might
why
upset
it should
you.
upset you?
But whatever the case, this is the PTR. It's just that now is a good time as any to give feedback, maybe get the attention of the Warcraft Community Council so they can help put a light on this. But otherwise, let's go.
Get the attention of the WoW Community Council. Yeah. I mean, I heard that pretty much anyone who was actually interested in contributing anything for the WoW Community Council got kicked out of the council. So it's like, all you have is... I don't know. I just remind myself of that video that we watched of Asmon, where, you know, you had those people that were actually interested in doing something interesting as part of council members, of actually getting representation from the rest of the community. And Blizzard apparently didn't take too kindly to that. They were like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. And it's like, okay, dude. It's like, just get canceled, get removed, get all of that. So yeah, I don't think the WoW Council is going to be able to do much about flight in 9.2. I don't think they're going to have that much pull, but we'll see.
Here on screen is the big 9.2 feature, the Cipher Research Console, and maybe you're a little bit familiar with it by now if you've watched my previous coverage. In short, it's a fun little upgrade system that gives zone buffs and outdoor world perks and access to customization and cosmetics. Progressing through it employs time and farmable currency to work through, but for now let's talk about time.
Isn't this also the time getting feature?
Requires a research time. It starts off with a few minutes, but eventually upgrades may take a day to research.
Can I just say that systems like this are basically fucking free-to-play mobile game systems? I mean, let's just be completely honest, all right? I'm barely into this video, and I'm looking at this like, hey, this research is going to take 40 minutes. This is going to take 6 days. This is blah, 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 blah. It's like there is literally one system that I'm aware of that requires like you to, you know, put some something on time in 14, which is like the retainers when you send them out on ventures. This is like a full skill tree of things. Like here's like, and it's like the ventures in your retainers are 1,000% optional. Like I never ever stress about ventures. Like you'll see me do ventures on stream every now and then because I happen to be in a city and I notice that the ventures are up and I can send them again. Like these are 1,000% bonus stuff. Besides that, what do we have? Free company missions. Oh yeah, there's the free company missions. Free company missions? You mean grand company missions? There's the grand company missions as well, I guess. So there's the retainers and the grand company missions. Again, another optional system which most people don't even engage with. Most people look at grand company missions. The hell is that? Like completely so off the main path of 14. Such an optional system. That yeah. Time nodes for craft. I mean, time nodes, that's just like every MMO has those. World of Warcraft's nodes are timed as well. But even timed nodes, like that doesn't strike me as like a mobile game mechanic. Right? That's the way that I think about it. Like timed nodes does not really strike me as a mobile game mechanic. Whereas this little like you could literally copy paste this UI right here, put it in the mobile game, and people wouldn't even bat an eye. Yeah, that sounds like a mobile game thing. It's just one of those things that instantly triggers me.
Some up to a week. You can research across these columns concurrently to save some time, but you'll soon learn that that's not a very big deal. At the moment, Flyan is locked behind an achievement for completing all of the ciphers. As of this build, the requirements of this achievement have changed. In the previous build, the achievement required researching at least 1 point in each of these traits. As you can see, some have only 1 point, others have 2 or more. Reaching this goal would take a minimum of 17.25 days, if you can also manage to farm up the currency needed as you go, which happens to be a total of 2,230 ciphers of the first ones. These ciphers are found all over the zone, from dailies and weeklies to world quests to treasures and rares and events. Keep in mind that this full venture is not a mindless farm and then nothing but waiting. Assuming that you commit to diligent farming, you're going to unlock perks on an almost daily basis. That's going to make traveling easier. It's going to make your character stronger in the zone.
Almost, you can have fun almost every day. Not every day, but almost every day.
And you'll find more things to do. Also important, you can start working towards this goal day 1 of the patch, so at least at the time, it wouldn't have been surprising if people were flying around while the race to World First was underway. Like I said earlier, that doesn't seem to be the case any longer. After this recent build, I tested researching this first column, and I put 1 point into each trait, just like before. After completing said research, the achievement no longer tracks that progression. Uh-oh. Let's not forget though, we're on the PTR. I should point out another change in this build. This trait here was swapped around with this one, which only requires 1 point. This could have caused a bug with the tracking of this achievement, where it's still looking at these traits when it should be looking at the traits now in the first column. I'd like to give the benefit of the doubt, but for the sake of responsive feedback, I think we're better off just calling it as we see it. What I see seems really time-consuming and work-intensive, to say the least. If the previous version of the achievement needed about 17 or so days to complete the flight achievement, but the new version needs us to fill out the entire tree, this actually doesn't add as much time as one would assume, because you can research multiple traits at once as long as they're on different columns. Also, at the moment, these columns have to be unlocked from left to right, and you can't go down a column until the topmost trait is research first, that unlocks the column. So our attention mostly rests on unlocking the entirety of this fourth column. The time it takes to reach the bottom of this fourth and final column is anywhere between 22 and 26 days. This information is taken from estimates from an earlier build, data mined from MMO Champion.
So about a month. Takes you about a month to unlock these things, I guess. Good God. They just don't learn, dude. Because, like, here's the thing. If this was an optional thing, right? If you think about it, right? If this was an optional system, like something completely optional, but this is like the core experience of that zone. This is the core experience of, what is it called? Zereth Mortis. Like, your core experience of Zereth Mortis is going to be filling out those things. That's your time gate. The core experience is waiting. Exactly. You're gonna be sitting there researching for 26 days. How is that reasonable? I mean, I just want to point it out, right? World of Warcraft players, here are your two choices. You could spend 26 days in this one zone grinding this shit out, or you could actually just like spend them like playing a story in a really good game. Not necessarily like Final Fantasy 14. You could literally play any other game almost. Any other game that you find that you can potentially get more enjoyment out of, or you can spend 26 days, you know, bored to death researching that shit. I mean, it's up to you.
This also assumes that within those 20 some odd days, the player will also need to farm up enough currency and be on top of completing the other research traits in each column as they go along, which means a lot of farming of Zereth Mortis and a lot of babysitting on this research. Let's try to get the full perspective here. This zone feature is not going to be something that progression-minded players are going to hard farm for the sake of competitive rating, and I don't like giving critiques based on the most extreme player behavior. I can see how some people just wouldn't mind the Cipher taking long to progress through, or require many weeks worth of diligent farming to unlock flight, and who would otherwise not really care about the minimum time it takes to fly.
You can see many people that wouldn't mind grinding something out for a long, long time. It's like, again, if it's an optional thing, I don't have that much of an issue that it takes long. Like, I mean, I've done the relic grinds, you know. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's my favorite type of content, but I've done some of the relic grinds, not all. I haven't finished the Stormblood one. But it's like, I wouldn't necessarily say that this is content that I would want to be in an MSQ, right? I wouldn't want that content to be a part of like the critical path that I'm going through in an expansion. Which, as far as I'm concerned, well, I guess this is not that critical, according to what he's saying, if raiders don't need it. I don't even know. Are you going to need that stuff to see the story? I don't even know anymore.
This feature is for the sake of getting some...
What am I saying? What am I saying? You're going to need that stuff to see the story. I keep forgetting that you don't see the story of World of Warcraft in World of Warcraft. You see the story on YouTube. You don't need anything. You don't even need to play the game to see the story. You just see the story on YouTube. That's how that works. I keep forgetting that part.
You know, cool mounts and pets and feeling powerful and outdoor content. Why rush? But now let's go to my feedback. Despite not knowing exactly how this whole crafting mounts and pets thing is going to work, I feel very strongly that even if logically this thing is not a big deal, the research time is 99% unnecessary for the enjoyment of this feature. There's not a lot of excitement when you work your way to buy that new trait, only to click on it and then you gotta wait 18 hours or
wait. You have to grind to buy the traits? Oh my god, dude. Wait, you have to grind like a resource and then you pay that resource and then it takes like hours to get the thing that you've been farming for? Dude, imagine me grinding the steps to do the Heavensward relic, and then I'd get the Geralt and go like, okay, that'll be about 2 hours, okay? Come back in 2 hours. I'm gonna go craft your weapon now. Oh no, dude. Oh no. It's so bad. Xeon Wired 05, if I want to start on Warcraft lore, who should I go visit? I mean, the two names that instantly come to mind. I mean, there's three names that come to mind. There is Nobbel. So if you just look at Nobbel, it's Nobbel. You should be able to find him. Just type in Nobbel WoW. He's got like tons of lore. There's Bellilar. Bellilar also does lore on his Bellilar Warcraft channel. And then there's Akalon, who also does Warcraft lore. Those are three names that I can reference you to. I don't really cover... Oh, shit. I just limit break 2 with tank. Oops. Oops.
Days and 18 hours to enjoy it. It sort of takes that thrill away. I know this is non-impactful for raiders, but it still makes no difference for the sake of basic fulfillment. You know what felt really cool? Getting a trait from the box of many things, or the Titanic research thing from patch 8.3. I already put in the work. Waiting ain't work, even if I can do other things in the meantime, because then why have the wait time?
But it's engagement. 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 All day. I'm basically like channeling my inner James Stephanie Sterling. Engagement.
If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
Widow N7, thank you very much for being grossly incandescent for 5 months. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Akalon doesn't play WoW anymore? Damn.
Announced earlier feel pretty meaningless. What's the big whoop in getting more ciphers if I still have to wait as long? And then there's having the lofty requirement of completing the entire tree. It seems like a bit much. Like, hey, thanks for completing the tree and unlocking all these perks. Here's flying to make you forget about most of them. Now, to the team's credit, the research unlocks are as much about exploration as they are about outdoor combat. It's just kind of a conundrum because flying over everything is a very powerful perk. But I also understand the meaning of wanting to let players enjoy the game on the ground for at least a little while. So I'll offer a couple of suggestions and then we'll let the comment.
Like I said, I think that flying mounts in MMOs are actually a bad thing. I think you interact more with other players if your mount is on the ground. Like, you see way more players when, you know, everybody's still in the ground. At the start, that's one of the reasons why I really like playing. I liked playing Endwalker right at the start, even though I couldn't stream it because of health. I'm happy that I got to play it at the start because you do get that experience where everyone is still in the ground. Even if after the second day, there are already plenty of people with flying unlocked, but you do get that experience of everybody's in the ground, everybody's in the same level, everybody's just like, you know, helping each other out. It's way cooler, and I would like to keep that going for as long as possible. It's like flying. You might as well almost just like, okay, let me just hit a button and just teleport me to the quest. Once I'm in the map, I can just hit a button and you teleport me to the quest. Because it's kind of the same thing. I'm not a big fan of flying in MMOs.
Enters below, do the rest of the suggestion and the flaming, that sort of thing.
What Evans is saying is actually a really good idea. Ground plus climbing plus gliding is the best combo. I agree. Yeah. Ground, climbing, and gliding is really good. Gliding, I think, is a good idea because then you start actually identifying things that, you know, you start identifying the way that the terrain is, and you start studying the terrain in a way that allows you to take advantage of gliding aspects. So yeah, I actually think it would be way more interesting if people did gliding instead of flying. This is Arcade does that, but Arcade is, from what I hear, not very good.
How about we lift the research time entirely? This gives meaning to a currency boost for alts. Players are already going.
No. Oh, wait, that's right. Alts probably also have to do that because that's fun and engaging. And it's like, nah, dude, Blizzard ain't doing that. Are you crazy? You crazy, dude? Think of all the engagement they're going to miss out on if they remove that timer. They're going to miss out on too much engagement. Look at what you did, Ketnet. You broke one of the cannons.
To progress at their own pace too, and there's no competitive advantage, but this is without knowing what else can be explored on the map that might require flight. Or there could be a compromise on research, like only have a research time for unlocking each column, you know, all the top traits, but the rest of the traits just need Cipher currency. Speaking just for me, it's not about the work, it's the additional time that gives me a problem, this double gating. It just really sucks that almost every node has a day-long wait to it, and all the concurrent research does.
It's so fun to hear the condition. Like, I feel bad for, you know, in a way, I kind of feel bad for people that are still playing WoW because of, you can hear the conditioning in their voice where they're just like, I don't even mind the grind. I don't even mind it. I don't even care. Just like at least let it so that after I grind, don't make me wait for it. At least just give it to me after I've done the grind. I don't even mind the grind anymore. It's like they're so conditioned. I feel bad. It's like that's the worst part. I've been there. I was right there alongside them. I was like, yeah, dude. It's like, I don't even mind the grind. Just at least give me the thing that I've worked for. Can I at least get the thing that I've been grinding for? And Blizzard goes like, no! You'll grind, and then you'll wait, and you'll get your candy when we decide you get your candy. Bitch.
Is compel me to farm harder so I can have researches constantly running on every column. And then there's the flying itself. There are mysterious spots here on the map that I mentioned that so far they're impossible to get to, and believe me, I tried. If these places are only reached via flight, then I can welcome the notion that flying has unlocked a layer of content in a way that hasn't been done in years, and I appreciate that.
I'm going to take parts of the map away from you until you unlock flying through a massive grind. So remember how I told you that, well, so long as this is not a part of the critical path, if the map is going to be locked behind flight, looks like that just became a part of the critical path. Which, yeah, that's great.
If not, then I gotta wonder what's flying even for in Zereth Mortis. I suppose it's for easier farming of materials that let me craft the pets and the mounts, and for alt, I guess, if they have any reason to do anything in Zereth Mortis at all. I'll try to end things on a kind of neutral note. I am excited to see what's next, and I did want to share some foot-in-the-mouth feedback because regardless of how I might feel, I just think this grind plus wait is going to stick out like a sore thumb, and it's going to bring back not-so-fond memories of patch 9.1 and Renown. I hope this gets some visibility, so if you want to help out, like the video, share it with others, and come back soon for more 9.2 coverage. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.
Stay breezy. Yeah, dude, that's a hard pass right there. It's screw 9.2. Like, people are expecting 9.2 to be like the thing that is going to somehow, you know, save WoW at this point. It's like, no, dude, I feel bad, but no, it's not. It's just not happening. There is no saving this burning dumpster on fire. It's so sad. It's so incredibly sad. Because again, there are people in that team still that I think are somewhat talented. But the problem is that in their misguided attempts to just like, no, we got to keep the players playing, got to keep them playing, got to keep them playing, got to keep them playing. When is anybody in the game actually going to think about, okay, we got to keep them playing, but can we at least keep them playing something that is fun? When is somebody going to try to find the fun in World of Warcraft? Is anybody even attempting to do that anymore? Is that a thing? Or we just not do that anymore? We just like, no, we don't do fun anymore. We don't care about that. It's like we're done with that life. Games are supposed to be fun. Yeah, exactly. The fun of World of Warcraft nowadays is just seeing how much of a heaping trash fire it's become over the years. And I don't even think that's fun anymore. It was like, and in a way, it was almost funny at the start when I was covering it at the very beginning. That it was almost funny, but now it's just become fucking depressing. It's terrible. It's fucking terrible. I don't know what to say about that. It's real bad.